What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the FN Studios. I'm John Ramdeen. He is Robin Black. UFC 206 goes down just down the street Saturday night. The main event, a 145-pound clash for the interim featherweight championship. Max Holloway taking on Anthony Showtime Pettis. The featherweight division really profiled at UFC 206. Doo Ho Choi and Cub Swanson, a fight just like the main event that we believe could deliver fight of the night, but a good time for 145 pounds right now.
Yeah, man, this is going to be good Saturday night. I just did a breakdown on Cub Swanson and Doo Ho Choi. You can see it on FightNetwork.com or on our Fight Network YouTube channel. And it was really, really, really a gift to just dig in different ways to these guys. And the thing I wanted to imply with the breakdown is between looking at them as separate entities is Doo Ho Choi will get reads on you very quickly. You'll see it in zeros and ones, like when the Terminator was looking at his options and then it flash on the screen. He'll look at you and he'll quickly identify, diagnose your illness, and that's that. And what I was trying to imply for people to pull out of it is Cub Swanson, because of the artistic layering of different things that he's showing you, it's hard to read. And that is the thing in conflict in this fight. The improvisational Cub Swanson, who maybe doesn't even know quite what he's doing or going to do, how do you read that? And that dynamic between these two brilliant fighters is one of the key things that's happening.
I think one of the questions people are asking is, can Doo Ho Choi just smash through the art? If Cub Swanson's playing a game that Doo Ho Choi is not familiar with, don't play that game.
When I used to live in Winnipeg, there was this beautiful art gallery that sold their art, and everything was glass, and everything was blown glass and shaped glass. And a buddy of mine used to say, wouldn't it be cool to just come in here with a baseball bat and just smash all this? I'd be like, no, why would you want to hurt this beautiful art? But that's the game. But that's really not what Doo Ho Choi does. Yes, when he hits you with that right hand, you go to sleep. You fall down and you wake up, you're like, what happened? It's like, oh, Doo Ho Choi happened. But it's because he figures out where you're going to be and when you're going to be where you're going to be. And I don't know if he'll be able to do that with Choi. He's going to be taken to places further than he's been taken before. But remember, he wanted this fight. Yeah. He looked at Cub Swanson and said, what an amazing fighter. He's one of my favorites. I'd love to fight him. That alone is something to admire. And he is going to be even better than he's been before. And Cub Swanson in that flow state, this is going to be magic.
How important is it that Doo Ho Choi is multi-layered? Is that, of course, what we've seen so far is what he's presented. There has to be a different version of him in there somewhere.
I think there is, but when you're so good at something, when you're almost, like just a level of talent, that a mastery, like true mastery in something, it works for you. And we've been calling Doo Ho Choi's fights for 6 years now. When we first saw him in his second or third fight over in the Deep organization in Japan, this is what he did. He figured out what you were and then put you to sleep. And so that's what he's always been doing. Can he force you to react? Can he take charge of the situation? Can he put you retreating? Sure, maybe he can do that. But what he's been so good at and why he knocks people out is he knows exactly where the hole is, exactly where the flaw is, anticipates when it's going to happen, almost predicts in real time what's going to happen, and then makes you pay for it. Cub Swanson's different than any of the people he's fought before, but that's why this fight is so special.
Max Holloway, what does he need to do to force Anthony Pettis to play into his hands?
That one's really fascinating, too, when you look at it. It's, people talk about, what is the star power, or like, oh man, what are the names? Who gives a rat's ass about names when the fights are this good? But even with that in context, Anthony Showtime Pettis, we know who that is. Yes. That's a former UFC champion. So that is what it is. But when you just take those two fighters and put them together,
skill for skill.
Yeah, the push and the pull of how they fight is what meshes here. So Cub versus Choi, they're different. The fight is different because of the differences between them. And Holloway and Pettis, there's a sameness in the push and the pull of how they like to fight.
Is that how the fight, do you believe the fight's going to play out? Each guy is going to have their moments, and it's just going to continue that way? Each guy's going to be creative. Both are going to attack. Both are going to retreat. They're going to show beautiful defense. They're going to play up against the cage. They're going to fight on the ground. It is really going to be the full picture of mixed martial arts?
Yes, and I think both guys are at a stage in their life where they just want to fight. They just want somebody who will fight them the way that they fight, and they're both going to get that here. Of course somebody can be finished in the first 10 or 15 minutes. And Pettis' submission game is always an element at play in a lot of different ways. Often when you take him down, and I don't know if that's what Max Holloway wants to do, but in many different ways his submission game comes into it. But barring that event, that in the clashes of the chaos, one of them goes to sleep, this fight will be won and lost in rounds 4 and 5. And it'll be the guy with the biggest nuts that takes this fight, because they're going to smash each other up and beat each other up and test each other and push each other to their limits. And normally going in, Max Holloway's nuts are just like so big. But Pettis in that Oliveira fight, he was not going to be beaten. And that Anthony Pettis will show up at 145 pounds, and we're going to get an insane fight.
Do you believe anything changes when the fact that there is a UFC title dangled in front of these guys? That for Anthony Pettis, he has an opportunity to do what very few people in the entire sport has ever done by becoming a two-division UFC champion. Can that change their approach to this fight?
If it does, it is Anthony and his experience that will benefit from it. So if the temperature is raised and the consequences and the outcomes start to enter the minds of one or both fighters, it's Anthony Pettis who has been down that road before. So Max Holloway has to find that right area. Does it spur him to be more aggressive? And is that something that's good against Anthony Pettis? Does it make him play to win in the later rounds? Does it affect him? Because Max Holloway is fighting perfectly right now. Max Holloway is fighting the way Max Holloway needs to fight. So any kind of change to that can be a negative. It can be a positive as well, but it can really be a negative because Max Holloway being Max Holloway has been perfect.
Conor McGregor, he believes that, yes, the UFC has taken his title, but it's nonsense. He believes he's still the 145-pound champion. And quite frankly, if he wanted to swoop down and say, you know what, I'm fighting at 145 pounds, I'll fight Jose Aldo, I'll fight the winner of Pettis and Max Holloway, maybe I'll fight this Doo Ho Choi guy. Conor McGregor really has all the power. So if he wants any of those fights, he can have them. But it seems right now he's taken some time off. Jose Aldo at the top of that mountain. Who do you believe will be the best challenge for Jose Aldo between Cub Swanson, Doo Ho Choi, Max Holloway, Anthony Pettis?
That is a very good question, but you just also open the idea, like, you know, Jose has been, oh, maybe I'm going to retire, maybe I'm going to do another thing, I want to fight Conor, although at least he has said he will fight the winner of this now. So that's something to look forward to. But if something changes, he's been injured at different times in his life. The winner of Cub Swanson, Doo Ho Choi, could be fighting for this, whatever belt this is, interim or because, who knows.
Now again, Cub and Jose fought before in the WEC.
That's a long time ago.
A long time ago,
and if saying that knocking a guy out in a few seconds is definitive,
exactly.
Well then Conor McGregor laid out Jose Aldo in a few seconds. That argument doesn't work only for one and not for the other. If Jose's saying that was a fluke, we never got our fight on, well then you have to. A Cub has that argument too. It doesn't just work one way, Jose, my friend. But Jose Aldo has truly never looked better than in that fight with Frankie Edgar. That was a level of reinvention and reimagining of how he approaches combat that was unpredictable to all, including the great Frankie Edgar and the great coach Mark Henry. So Jose Aldo, to me, proved that he is better than he's ever been in that fight. I'd like to see him fight either of these guys. You just have this weird, desperate destiny vibe out of Max Holloway, but he's got to get through Anthony Pettis. And when Anthony Pettis is fully committed to a fight like he was against Oliveira, I don't know who can beat him at 140.
Does it matter the type of performance? When you look at these four athletes, Doo Ho Choi, Cub Swanson, Holloway, and Pettis, we've been told that the winner of Pettis and Max Holloway, they become the interim champion, they get the next crack at Jose Aldo. But does it come down to performances? If it's a conservative performance where Max Holloway earns a split decision, where Doo Ho Choi smokes Cub Swanson, and people are like, oh, let's give this guy a crack.
Yeah, but you're wearing some kind of interim something or other, you know, so that all shapes weird stuff. Listen, man, Cub Swanson had a lot of reasons to go, who the hell is this guy? I don't need to fight him. But I think he understands that everybody is seeing where this kid Doo Ho Choi is going, and if he can shut him off, that puts him right back in that top of the heap. But on the other hand, if Doo Ho Choi just takes out a top 10 guy the way he's taken out other guys, everybody will be talking about Doo Ho Choi.
We are going to get a better understanding of the 145-pound landscape this Saturday night at UFC 206 in Toronto.